myself.
Yeah,
I am not that. And, you know, again, trying to pursue this dream that's making me so unhappy. And yet this is my idea of success that is, you know, not contributing to my wellness. It's actually doing the opposite of that. So, and I think that's why, you know, God had to slow me down a little bit and he had to change my perspective.
Welcome back to the Mind Your Wellness podcast. I'm your host, Obel, and we have here with us
Patricia.
And today we're so excited. I am super excited to have this guest on. We're going to have a really good conversation. First of all, if you've been supporting us throughout this wellness series that we have that we have available for you and been bench watching and commenting, thank you. Okay. Right. And we're so excited for that. And today we have a special guest. Okay, she's very special. Obviously, I'm biased. She's my sister-in-law. But we have the beautiful Janise Pluviose. I am so excited. I obviously met you because I'm married to my husband, whose husband is your brother. Whose your husband is, your husband. Family things always trick me. Okay. Your husband is my husband's brother. That makes us sister-in-law. And I'm so excited. I had the privilege of meeting you, Janise. You're so sweet and kind. And I love your spirit. I think every time I'm introducing someone, I just want to take that moment to kind of tell them why I really appreciate them, because life is short. Yes. And I really want to just say, I really appreciate you. You're very kind-hearted. Like, you're one of those few people that is like, her soul is so kind. And you can see it shines really through. And you're a godly woman. And your mother, you're a wife, and you're the owner of Gavi's Garden. We're going to get into that very quickly. Yes. But thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And
it's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. Thank you. I want you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are. I know you wear many hats.
I do. Thank you for having me, ladies. Well, I am a wife and a mama of one. Yes. As of now, maybe just one. I do have a background in science and also medicine with an emphasis in nutrition. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Yeah. I am also the baby of 6. So I have 6. My mom has 6 kids, and I'm the last. So I'm the baby, and I've been spoiled quite a lot. So I think that maybe that has also influenced me to have more kids. But we'll see. We'll see along the line. I love nature and also plants. I love plants. And then what else can I say? I love the Lord. I love, I'm also involved in children's ministry at my church, at my local church. Yeah. I just, wherever God leads me, I always pray that His will may be done in my life. Amen. So that's a little bit about myself. Amen.
I love that. I love that. I think it's so beautiful to kind of hear you say all of the things that you're passionate about. Because normally when you introduce somebody, they're just like, I have this and I have that. Yeah. But it's just the dynamic in which you say, I love plants and the things that you love to do, because I can see that you're passionate about a few things and you do them well. The plant thing, guys, let me tell you, if you need your plant saved, this is the person to go to. You're like the plant whisperer. So good. And it's interesting also to see that you have a background in nutrition. That's awesome. I do. That's really awesome. We're going to definitely dive into those things. But before we do, we have a little game. Okay. Just a quick game, little quick icebreaker awesome. That I have for us. And it's just going to be between this or that. Okay. So we all going to pick this or that. Oh boy. Very fast and brief. Okay. We're going to go with you. Okay. All right. So coffee or tea?
Tea.
Okay. Comedy movie night or drama movie night?
Comedy.
Drama.
Ooh. I like comedy. Okay. Beach vacation or mountain retreat?
Ooh.
The oohs were so in sync.
Yeah. Can I see the beach from the mountain?
Ooh, I'm gonna say beach.
Yeah.
Okay. Beach. Yeah.
I like mountain. Yeah. Mountain.
I think
I can't choose. I can't choose though.
That's a good one.
No, you have to choose. If somebody put a gun in your head, which one would you do?
Oh my God. You have to go there.
I want people to choose. Be decisive.
Mountain.
Okay. I'll do the beach because I'm afraid of heights. Really? Yes, I'm afraid of heights. I'm so terrified.
How
yes.
did I not know that?
Yeah, I'm afraid. I'm terrified of heights.
Oh my goodness.
Let's keep going. Homemade dinner or takeout nights? I know what your answer is, but go ahead.
Takeout, just because I don't want to cook.
Oh, wow.
Depends on who's
I
cooking.
want a little break.
Oh, wow.
I'll do takeout.
Yeah. If my husband cooks. Then it's
That's a
gonna be
political
home.
answer.
Okay.
That's a political answer.
I was waiting for her to
20
finish.
minutes ago, or maybe like a few hours. 20 hours
my
ago.
God, homemade.
You said you like to go out and eat.
Oh my God, Obel, I'm answering a question. I do love to eat out, but my husband is a great chef.
Okay, good.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
She's gonna get
like
something
that.
tonight. She's gonna get
I
something.
like that.
Okay, early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Night owl for sure.
I am definitely a night owl. Yeah. I don't like being
Like 2
early.
o'clock in the morning going to sleep.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
All right, reading a book or watching a TV series?
Reading a book for
Reading
me.
a book.
Reading a book.
Watching a TV series?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but I love reading too. But lately I've been watching series because it
Right.
just gets my mind away.
You should get on audiobooks.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably gonna help me. Spa day or adventurous outdoor activity?
Outdoor activities for me.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I love the outdoors.
Yeah.
Depends on
No
the
wonder
day
why you
that
like
I had
nature.
before.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do love outdoor too.
Outdoor.
But it would
That was
depend on
good
the
one.
day that I had before.
Which one is it, Pat? If you can do it all the time, stick to one. If you can do it all the time, which one is it?
Outdoor activity.
Okay, outdoor
okay.
activities.
Okay.
Family game night or movie night?
Game night.
Movie night.
I love a good game.
I love both. I love movie night, but I
You
think
don't get
game
to
night.
do both.
I know. That's what she was waiting on that. She's like, I got you. You better answer that question. I really do love a game night because I'm so
Yeah.
focused and I love the fun.
Competitive.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
I play
Yeah.
sports,
I
so
can
I
see
just like,
that.
we're gonna win.
I can see that.
Right?
Family. Oh, okay, we said that already. Sweet treats or savory snacks?
I have a sweet tooth.
Savory.
Savory snacks for sure. Gardening or DIY home projects?
I think you already know mine.
I already know yours.
Gardening, of course, all day long.
Gardening.
Yeah.
DIY home projects. I'm trying to get my husband to do these things around the house.
I tried.
No, let's pay somebody to do that. I'm always trying to fix something, but this was really fun.
Yes,
awesome.
it was.
This was really fun.
It was.
But I am so excited that you said that you are a mother, obviously, and then you have raising Gabby. Like, tell us, what does wellness look to you as a mother that is raising a 1-year-old?
Oh, that's a very good question. I know it's so funny. When I think of wellness, I think of, being in good health, like the absence of diseases from the body. But it's more than that. It's spiritual, it's mental, it's physical. And also for me, being well is being able to support Gabrielle because she's someone, I call her small people. She's small people. And you have this human who's depending on you for survival. They can't do anything for themselves. So for me, I have to be okay mentally. I have to be okay spiritually. Physically, I have to be able to lift and run and jump and play with her. And, as a mom, sometimes you're not really reaching all those markers because you're so busy, taking care of the littles that you kind of neglect self. So it's very important as a mom. And trust me, yes, you can attain, wellness, those 3 levels. It's not impossible, it's doable, but I think it takes time. It's not something that happens gradually. Wellness is a lifestyle, and it's going to take time to get to that, that optimum, I guess
the ideal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Something, when you are introducing yourself, Obel pointed out how you introduce yourself with your passion. I know you've been staying at home with your child, and I did it for quite a few years.
Yeah.
At first, it wasn't by choice. I always feel like God tricked me into being home, but then I enjoy it at the end. But one thing I discovered in staying at home, and because I had the chance to move from having the because she was in daycare first, and then we transitioned to being home, is that I start to be connected to what I love. Whereas where I was outside, and then she was in childcare, and I was doing like the professional thing and things like that, I feel like there were some times where I was disconnected to like you doing the job, and then you getting home, almost like a routine.
Yeah.
But then when I'm home, even though it's busy and challenging, I'm like, oh, what else can I do? Like I have this hobby. Let me start writing. Let me start a blog and things. And you see all of the possibility, and you're reconnecting with things that you love. How has this experience been for you, staying home?
Yeah, you actually said it. I think you summed up similar experiences as me, because at first, you'll be surprised. I'm like, I don't know if I want to be a stay-at-home mom. Right. The idea of just still being at home all the time. And you have this notion that being at home with your child, it's like all your freedom is taken away. You're so confined to just like the four corners of the house. So that was my idea of being a stay-at-home mom. But actually when, I got the opportunity to do so, it was completely different. And like you mentioned, Pat, you said you kind of you kind of realize like your passion, and you kind of discover new things, and you're learning also. It was hard at first. It was very tough. But then as the months go by, you kind of see the joy in it. And also it's a blessing, because not a lot of moms get to, stay at home. That's true. For different reasons. So the fact that I was able to do that, I count it as a blessing rather than looking at it as, oh my goodness. I know. As a burden. Yeah. So I see it as a blessing. Just for Gabrielle and myself, and also for my marriage too, because it kind of slows you down a little bit, and it makes you realize the important things in life.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And it's been a blessing. It's a challenge. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
It's a challenge.
Let's get into that. Let's get into the challenge part, because I think like when people hear stay at home mom, and it's a lot like that goes into it, and it could be like luxurious, but it could be a blessing, but also a challenge. And so I want to talk about like the challenge of it all. Like, how do you manage your sanity?
I don't. I don't. I think one thing that has worked for me, and this is something I just discovered, is routine. Having a routine. My older sisters, as I mentioned, I'm the baby of 5 others. So, one thing my elder sister was like, "Oh, make sure you have a routine." I'm like, routine? Like the baby is just crying nonstop. Like when how is this going to help, build structure? And, that's exactly what I did. I built a routine for her. So when we wake up, we'll do worship, and then we'll start our day, whether it's like going outside. Gabby's just like her mama. We love nature. She loves to be outside. She does not like inside. Whenever she's having a bad day, I'm like, okay, let's go outside. And her mood changes. So, we'll go outside. We'll come in, we'll do some reading or some educational activity, take a nap, and then we'll repeat. Some days, as I said, it becomes a little mundane. It's, repetition. Right. You're like, oh man, I need some changes, right? But, I think you have to find, the little joys in doing these activities. And I think that's what helped me daily to just keep going. But yeah.
And I think the fact that also you love nature, and then now she's getting to love it, because I experienced that with my daughter. And that's one thing that we missed, is like taking walks together. She loved it. We did school, we pick up rocks, we pick up like we have like the sticks, and then we color the sticks, and we just wonder.
Yeah.
And then what I find is like the conversation that happened when you're just walking with a 3-year-old and 4-year-old, and they're asking all of these questions, and they tell you their heart, and you get to see their expression and how they are as a person, and that teaches you lesson. That my daughter taught me a lot of lesson as an adult, like on a character level, on a personality level. So and helped me to see like challenges, and help you get through the tough day. Yeah. And Nobel mentioned like the challenging day. Like, how did you overcome your challenge being home?
Or they'd have you over.
Or have you experienced any challenges?
Actually, I think I'm still learning, and I'm still trying to like figure out how to get a solution for those challenges. And just the other day, Gabby, she was dealing with some health issues. She does have eczema, and some days are good and some days are not so good. Especially when she have her flares. And I remember it was just one of those days where she was just, she didn't sleep. She wasn't eating well, and I think that kind of agitated her. And I think because of the no sleep, I didn't sleep. So patience was very thin that day. And when my husband came home, I just cried. I'm like, it was a long day. And he was like, he said something so profound. He was like, remember, Janise, you are a mother now. I'm like, yeah, you are right. I am a mother. And you have, as a mom, there, like you said, there's going to be challenges, and you have to know how to deal with those challenges, especially stress. Because I'm also still breastfeeding, and I remember reading somewhere that your stress and all those hormones can get into your breast milk, and that can also transfer to the child, especially someone with eczema. That also can cause his flare. In their episodes. So all of that, I'm like, man, like how do I have to get this under control. Oh my God, like what am I gonna do? And I pray, honestly. That's my outlet. I pray because, guys, I don't know some days how I even get through the day. Right. And I know that, God has given me the sufficient amount of strength and energy to just get through those days, because I don't know how I'm doing it or how I've done it. But my only solution is it's the Lord. He's the one that's truly given me the strength, wisdom, understanding, and just how to be a mom overall.
Yeah, I love that. I love that that's your outlet, because I think it's very important. Sometimes we forget, that we still have someone to look to. We still have, as a Christian, I would say, from our perspective, it's like God can give you strength. And I always wonder, where does mother get strength? I'm not a mom yet, but I just watch mom do things, and they're just doing a lot of things at once. And it's just like, wow, where do you get your strength from? But let's just go back a little further. Now that you homeschooled Gabby, and also you, Pat, because this is a question for you both. Do you guys see there is an importance in childhood development to stay at home? Do you feel like there's a really good benefit in homeschooling your child? You both can answer that question because you guys have that experience.
You want to go first?
Yeah. Let our guests go first. Let our guests go first.
Sure. Yeah. We were reading child guidance, and before we got married, my husband and I, we agreed that we wanted to homeschool our children. And being like in that environment, we have a few of our friends too who also homeschool, and and also being involved in children's ministry, as you mentioned before, we've seen a vast difference between children who are homeschooled versus those who are not homeschooled in terms of their behavior, intellectual, spiritual life. We've seen a difference, and we're like, wow, that's something that we want to do. And also in child guidance too, by Ellen G. White, she mentioned that parents, you are your child's first instructor. And there's and home, that's where we're instructing them. At home, you're their first teacher. So I feel like, yes, we made the decision, but the decision was made already for us. So we were just acting on that, that responsibility to homeschool Gabrielle, or just, future kids. But that's where our inspiration comes from. And,
I love Ellen G. White when it comes to family studies and things. I go online and find, I used to go online and find, there is like ellengwhite.net or something like that, where they have all of her books.
Estate,
and then you
guys, sorry to cut you off. Can you tell our audience who don't know who Ellen G. White is, who she is?
So she's the controversial figure. let me not, I'm not the one to ask this question.
So I would want to say she is part of the founder of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I believe she is one of the most, I think so, correct me if I'm wrong. I think she's one of the most, she's written most of the
seven
SDA books in the church. And also she just give give really good guidance and just instructions on family, church.
She's a great writer, and she was inspired by God. There's a lot of controversy about her, all of the other things, but in terms of family and health, I love her writings. And
is a big one.
my dream was to homeschool all of my children forever. But my husband likes the traditional aspect of, going to school and making friends and things like that, even though I try to convince him that we can make friends in the community and things. So my daughter ended up going to school in first grade. So we agreed that she would go back to school, and she loved it because she is competitive, but she's also she's a leader on her own. Like she loves to have people around and be like, oh yeah.
I love her. Yes, you guys have similar. It's funny because you guys both have similar daughters. Because she's the leader. Her, Gabby, if you see Gabby, she's they're both she's a leader.
Chloe is very much like that. Like starting conversation with older people and getting to know their lives. Like her teacher called her a great friend. I'm like, what kind of conversation you having with your teacher? So. Do I believe? I think every parent should homeschool in some kind of way, some kind of capacity. And I know you have an online preschool, and I have a childcare center. And my whole thing is about creating a home within a center, not so much so where parents feel like they drop their kids and this is a daycare. I don't call my center a daycare, because I believe in having like a home atmosphere. Like I invite the parents to come in and sit down. So I try to have the parents involved, even though most people who put their children in childcare center, they don't have the time. But I kind of just create programs where parents come in and come sit with us a little bit and do an activity with your child with us. Because I think homeschooling is so important. Like parents need to see, children need to see their parents doing that role, and not just like, oh, I'm going to go to school and get it from the teacher. Then,
that's right.
Then they start trusting their teacher more than they trust the parents. And I feel like in this environment that we live in now in the world, with so many topics, so many controversial topics, starting from, LGBTQ, starting from Satanism. Like in Massachusetts recently, there was a Satan convention.
Yes, I heard of that.
Yes, a Satan convention, and it was huge. They said that this was the largest satanic event in the history of Massachusetts. It was a big convention.
Yes, I did hear of that.
And the school having more freedom now with the kind of things that they teach, how they introduce sexual education, and so many books telling my child, like, you can pick what gender that you're going to be. I think even if you're a parent who's busy, homeschooling should be part of like, okay, so I work 9 to 5, I get home, or maybe it's not when I get home, but on the weekend, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about things, or like create that time to homeschool. I don't think homeschool is just like for the mom who's at home from morning to night. It's for every parent. Like everybody should be homeschooling your children, or when they come back, look at their homework. What did you guys talk about during the school today? Because then that's how that is homeschool. And there are parents, even though they don't send their children to traditional school, they consider traveling around and having experiences as homeschooling, because you're spending time with the children, you're educating. That's all that is about. It's not academics, learning, whatever you need to learn. They need that too. And I know some parents, they take tutors to do these topics, but then they still have their children and do these kind of things. I don't think we can afford to leave the education of our children to any type of system.
Anyone.
Yeah. Actually, you can't just let go and say, okay, I know she spent the day with you, bye. No.
Yeah, and also to add on to what you were saying, Pat, you have these kids. They are in school from, as you mentioned, let's say 8 to 2,
right?
And also if you look at the classroom settings and their structure, you have one teacher for how many students? Let's say 12 13. And that teacher, I guess it's I don't know like what the law is for the schools, but they have to meet so many criteria, they have to cover so many topics, and not every kid learned the same way, right? Not everyone learned the same way. So you're spending like say 30 minutes on this math product subject, and you have like one kid who's struggling. That teacher's not gonna take that time to like say, okay, let me help you, because he or she has to meet a certain standards for that day, right? So that's where the importance of, like you mentioned, to parents being their child's teacher, but also not only intellectually. Respect, obedience, self-control. Those are things that are not being taught in school, right? Those are not being taught in school. And, we are raising kids, intellectual kids. We're raising competitive kids. But also those characters, I mean, they're not being built upon. So we have kids who are, they're smart, but also they're lacking self-control. They're lacking respect. They're lacking all these things. So that is where like the foundation has to be, built at home. And that way you can add on if you do, prefer to send your kids to, public school, then they already have that foundation set for them. So they can grow up to be intellectual.
Exactly.
Respectful.
Yeah.
Right.
Self-control.
Yeah.
People of society.
Exactly. I love that. What inspired you to actually start Gabby's Garden? Because I know you have an online school.
I do have an online school.
Which I love that you called it after your daughters.
Gabby's Garden preschool.
Really
I just realized
Gabby is the name of her daughter. It's so nice. Yeah.
Gabby and Nanny love gardening.
And you love gardening.
I had to come with a creative name, so that was my creative.
When you think of children too, you think of a garden, like you nurturing
them. It's so fun you ask, because I have a friend. She's the one that actually said, Janise, I think you would do really well teaching preschool or starting your own business. I'm like, oh man, wait, really? You think so? And that's actually how I got into it, by doing research. And I'm like, this is something that I can do, and also that I want to learn, because I want to teach my daughter. I want to, the plan is to homeschool her, but also preschool is, you start them at a younger age. And then my plan is, as Gabby's growing older, I'm going to go with her as she goes to the different grades. And I think it's important to have, like I mentioned, that foundation, because like you mentioned, think of a plant. Or a seed, that eventually becomes into plant. As you mentioned, you have to nurture it, you have to water it. And these little kids, they're like blank slates. And how are you gonna paint your human? Sorry if that song that came out wrong. How are you gonna paint your human? How are you how are you investing in them? How are you nurturing them? What are you giving them to grow, right? So that's kind of somewhat what inspired me to kind of open my own preschool and to help not just Gabby, but also other mamas who aren't able to kind of, provide that care in that capacity. That's something that I hope to.
Hello, wellness enthusiast. If you are on the lookout for a holistic company offering natural remedies and skincare products with pure ingredients, your search ends here. Green Olive Tree Outreach was founded with a mission to address community respiratory needs. Recognizing the importance of skincare, they've crafted exceptional skin-loving soaps using locally sourced whole plants like cerville, orange, grapefruits, and mangoes. They offer skin-conscious soaps with natural ingredients like coconut oil, olive oil, shea butter, and clays. These soaps are specifically formulated to help nourish the skin, exfoliate dead skin cells, promote new cell growth, and stimulate white blood cells for skin restoration. These bars penetrate the skin rapidly, offering pain relief, inflammation soothing, and balanced whole oil production. Great options for both men and women. But that is not all. Go-To has something special for our little ones. The Tender Care Baby Soap. Perfect for babies, of course, and people with super sensitive skin. And to our listeners and viewers, Green Olive Tree Outreach is excited to offer an exclusive discount. So use our code #wellness for a fantastic 12% off of your first purchase at gotobotanical.shop. So that's again, #wellness for a 12% off at gotobotanical.shop. Elevate your self-care journey with GoTo. Your well-being is a journey, and we are here to walk it with you.
You know something? I want to ask you something. Do you feel like if you were not home, you would be having your own business?
No.
that's a question I always love asking people.
Yeah.
And that's why even though I'm not like home as much anymore, I feel like every mom should try being at home for an amount of years. I think every woman should make it in their agenda, because how they give you 6 months? No, they don't.
3 months. 3 months. You mean maternity leave? Maternity leave 3 months.
In some other countries, I think it was Canada.
In Canada, it's 1 year.
1 year.
1 year.
Yes,
so the moral story is move to Canada.
Not in the US. So you have 3 months.
3 months.
So that baby is like 3 months.
Yep.
When you have to go back to work. I think I you know something, did you know that you wanted to be home before you gave birth?
Actually, let me tell you a little secret, guys. My husband and I, we actually did not want any children, any kids. We did not want any kids. So the idea of just being at home, stay-at-home mom, that was never taught.
Wow.
It was just something that wasn't, I love school, really love school, love learning, love education. And that was my goal, to just see how, keep learning, see how high I can get in terms of the educational spectrum. And that was my goal. And, the Lord...
He has other plans, like
the Lord
always.
has different plans for you. Definitely has different plans for me. And I feel like being a mom, I feel like it wasn't just like something that just came out of the blues. I think God chose me to be a mom because He wanted to change my perspective from my selfishness. And I believe there was some selfishness inside of me, because it was all about me. What can I do? How can I get this? How can I do that? And God needed to humble me. And being a mom, I was, it has definitely humbled me. I think I had to go through this experience because God is teaching me.
Wow.
God is definitely teaching me.
That's
beautiful.
beautiful. I love that you shared that.
It's a beautiful lesson too. I must say.
It is.
Beautiful lesson.
I think selfishness is the word that I did not want to use when I said my daughter changed me a certain way.
She just gave you the open door to say you are being selfish. There's this one question that I have in my mind. Like I keep thinking about it, because now you said you didn't want to have kids, and we were reading the other day a research that says that people who have kids, their marriage happiness can decrease by 20%. And then I think some other research says that they could also have the baby honeymoon. It increase, and then after that, immediately it decreases. So now, what is your experience within that, within marriage? I guess, do you see that manifesting in some ways or not?
Again, that word challenging. I think I went through a phase where when Gabby was first born, I'm like, oh man, this is really tough. I don't think I ever want any more kids. And then, she got a little older. I started to feel a little bit better. And I'm like, oh man, babe, I want like 3 more kids. But in terms of it, I guess that's the baby moon of it. But in terms of marriage, my husband is very simple guy, just like me. He's very understanding. And he told me to say this is very low maintenance. He said, I'm very low maintenance. So, our marriage should, it knows it.
He's like, I'm low maintenance.
He's like, I'm very low maintenance. Okay, so, there were some moments, there was definitely some strains in our marriage. Having a new baby, adjusting, being a mom, being a wife, meeting everyone's need. But I think I want to say it has improved. I want to say it has definitely improved rather than,
Can you tell a mother that's been struggling to, do it all, to make sure that their wellness is good, their husband's wellness is good, their child's wellness is good? What would you tell them to do? What's working for you?
I think it depends on, your marriage and your partner. I have, like, as mentioned before, I have a very supportive husband. He's very supportive in all capacities.
Praise God for that.
If it needs help, like doing the laundry, he'll do the laundry. Doing the dishes, he'll do the dishes. Doing this, taking care of the baby. So that way that I can focus on me. That way I can focus on our family. And again, I don't have it all together. I don't have, on the outside, you're happy, I'm not together, but inside, no, we still have our struggles. And again, I'm still a new mom and I'm learning every day. And I feel like I will continue, as Pat said, we will continue learning as a mom. And it's okay. There's some good days and there's going to be some bad days. Of
course,
But definitely, if you need, whenever you feel like you need to take that break, take that break. take care of you, because as mentioned before, you have littles who are depending on you for survival. And if you are not well, your community, your family is not well. So take one step at a time, and that's what I'm learning. I felt like I needed to make everything work together all at once, and that's still something I'm still figuring out. But as I mentioned before, as Pat mentioned, we're learning daily.
And I can see the sweetness and kindness that Belle is mentioning.
Yes.
Like this is the first time we're meeting, and I love it. I love like your authenticity.
Yeah.
And I can tell that there is like a certain level of confidence about who you are as a woman. And I love that. I love seeing that in women who are like confident, and they're like, they don't have to try to show you that they're confident. It's just like natural. And I see it when you're talking.
I know.
But I have to ask you this, because I sense that you were also a type A woman, and a type A woman, like in terms of pursuing education, like you wanted to go to the highest. The minute that you say you wanted to go to the highest level, I'm like, that's me. Now, transitioning to being home, like, yes, you have your business, you have the online preschool, which, not everybody can have a business while they're home. So that's a big accomplishment. But how do you feel about people, like when they're like, so what do you do? And then you're like, oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom. At some point, I started to wear it like a badge. I'm like, yeah, that's right. I'm a stay-at-home mom. But how do you feel about that? Like, honestly, when you telling people what you do, one, and secondly, like deep inside, because your dream wants to pursue higher education and keep going. So that doesn't mean like your baby's 1 year and all of a sudden you not all about education anymore. So how does that feel? And do you have a plan to go back to that dream?
No, that's actually a very good question. And I feel like at some point I was kind of struggling with that question. And so I was like, oh, so what do you do? I'm like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm a stay-at-home mom. And it took me a while to like accept that. Because before I was working and school, that was my identity, and that that's all I wanted to do was to keep going. So now that I slow down, and now it's just like, okay, so my idea of success, like, well, this is not my idea of success, and that's how mostly when you have conversation with people, they're like, oh, what do you do? That's the first question. So now it's like, what do I do? But as I mentioned before, it's a blessing. And, looking back, or I can look forward, I do plan to go back to school. I must mention that I wanted to be a doctor, medical doctor. I was on the path to becoming a doctor. And, and again, that's how I view success. And again, I actually having this conversation with one of my good friends, and I'm like, well, how do you view success? Like what does success mean to you? Does it mean like, being this prestigious doctor, driving this luxury car, living in this big house? Is that what success truly means to you? And I sit and I'm like, okay, that's a very good question. And
I love that. I love. So what is success to you, though?
Yeah,
that's a very, very good question. How can I contribute to my society? How can I contribute to society? And and that's where my school comes in. That's how I contribute. That's how I view success. And also going back to that question of going on that path to becoming successful. I think about my happiness at one point. My husband was like, "You're not happy." I'm like, no.
That's good of him to catch that.
I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm not, I'm not depressed. And, my idea of depression was, very sad, crying in a gloomy room all the time.
High functional depression. High functional depression.
Yeah. And he pointed out, I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, and then I sat down, I'm like, am I in denial? Like, I'm like, I know myself. I am not that. And, again, trying to pursue this dream, that's making me so unhappy. And yet this is my idea of success that is, not contributing to my wellness. It's actually doing the opposite of that. So, and I think that's why, God had to slow me down a little bit, and he had to change my perspective. And now going back to your question, will I go back? Will I ever go back to, on that path? Yes, I want to. I'm not sure if that selfishness is still, it's still there. But I still have that passion in me to do it. So
probably not out of selfishness, but now with a better perspective.
Yeah.
I think you said it really well. I like that.
I think I love the conversation of what is your idea of success, because what happens sometimes we are like looking at your idea of success based on societal perspective, not necessarily based on God-given talents or God-given purpose. We just look at it at if I do become a doctor, I'm going to be respected. That's what we look at. We don't be, especially coming from our generation or Afro-Caribbeans, and it's just that's like culture. The culture is like, oh yeah, she's a doctor, she's a lawyer, or she made it, or she's this and she's that, and really people don't really understand what defines success. And especially being a godly woman and pursuing your purpose. Sometimes God didn't send you to medical school. Sometimes it's really, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to be real with yourself and kind of, and you mentioned exuding confidence, even though you're thinking your idea of this, or you got to tell people, oh, you stay home. No, that's actually, you should wear it with pride, because that's actually way more important than if you had to go to medical school and then Gabby grew up and felt like she was lacking something, for her wellness journey to make her a better human in society. And people don't really want to talk about these real subjects because obviously, there's this stigma of,
But something, I think this whole thing about submission to God and the plan that he has for our life, because there are some people where God wants them to go because God sees where they're gonna be effective.
Exactly.
And God see the kind of person that you are. I know 100% if I went from my position at my previous job as a program supervisor straight into opening my business, I would not have been the leader that I am now if God didn't slow me down and I was home for 5 years learning myself as a person.
I like that.
I love that.
And then coming to the idea of like, is this the person that you want to be? And that's when the framework came to me, like the self-vision and community framework, like how you view wellness and you think about your personal and your professional and how you contribute to society. I like that you mentioned that. But I feel like when God slowed me down, that gave me the chance to really face yourself and face your fears and the kind of person that you want to be. So now you can go back out there, and no matter how busy you are, you'll always be able to find your footing and your balance because you have a stronger foundation.
That's right.
Whereas you're pursuing things out of trauma, and then now the trauma's here, but you're so high up. Like, for example, let's just say you were traumatized or whatever. You were pursuing this out of selfishness, right? So you spent 12 years and you're in medical school, and now you're a big-time doctor, selfish like no tomorrow. Have you ever met a selfish doctor? The worst type of treatment. I mean, but like the worst type of bedside manners. Like people will probably die on your table. You wouldn't care about the nurses. But God slowed you down and you never know. And now that you may be going back and then you become that doctor, but then you're a doctor who has time for your family. Because you learned that in your transition. And that's why I think it's not like, I think some people think it's either I stay home or I'm a career woman. But no, there is also like, I can transition to being home for a couple of years, stay with my children, make sure I get to know them for the first 5 years, and then I go back out there, or maybe God will already give me a business, and I won't have to go anywhere.
You have to go anywhere. That's it right there.
Right?
Is the walk with God, just having that honest relationship with Him.
And the kind of person that you are, right?
Exactly.
You love gardening.
Of course.
how are you gonna garden while you're in med school?
Seriously.
Oh, would you even know you love gardening?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Well, I love this conversation.
Awesome.
This is going to help so many people.
Yes.
Like, I really can see that really just changing people's perspective out there. So to wrap up, Janise, thank you so much for coming and, joining our podcast. Do you have any word when it comes to motherhood wellness that you can give us on our audience? And then you can wrap up with where to find you after on social media platforms.
Yeah.
Any
Register for Gab School.
Register for Gab School.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Gabby's Garden.
Please
Gabby's
register for
Garden.
Gabby's Garden.
Yes, but when we always do that one word when you think about motherhood wellness, what comes to mind?
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
Sacrifice.
Love that.
Sacrifice.
I love that.
Sacrifice,
really good.
definitely. That's my one word. I think that's my one word.
Yeah,
that's good.
nurturing.
Nurturing.
Yes.
I'm just learning because I don't have
I don't have a baby yet. What do you think it's gonna be?
learning. It's
Yeah.
going to be a journey to learning.
It's a journey.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying because I don't know
that.
anything, and hearing from you guys is going to shifting my perspective on things. And I'm afraid to have a kid, y'all. But I think it's a blessing when you learn and get your mind ready for that.
Yeah.
I agree.
So thank you
I
so
agree.
much, guys.
Yes, thank you for
Before we end, tell the people where they can find you, where they can find the school, and everything they need to know.
Yes. So you can find me. I actually have my website. It's www.gabbysgardenpreschoolonline.com. We're currently in school right now.
Wow.
We're currently actually, I'm not sure if when you release this, but you can go and register online. We do have a wait list, and I believe it's gonna be very fun for the kiddos.
Okay.
You can find me at www.Gabby's Garden Preschool. That's our website. And also on Facebook, if you just Google our business page, Gabby's Garden Preschool Online, you can also find us there. We're not on Instagram as yet, but we will be there very soon. But those are the two platforms you can find us on.
I love it.
Awesome.
I love it. I'm adding you on Facebook right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much, sis, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, you're my
It's such
sister
an
from another
honor,
mother now.
yes.
You just stuck with me, my crazy self. But we're good. It was really good to have you on, and for our audience, thank you for supporting us. And you can go binge watch other episodes that have been released. And mind your wellness
Because it's your business.
That's right. It was Patricia Nobel and Janise with you guys, and talk to you next time. Bye.